We got it going on, baby. It's on and cracking, man. He's gone, baby. You the man.
Pop, you alive? I mean, you safe? Man, I'm so happy you're free.
Yeah? Happy to see me. Wasn't y'all talking when I got in here? Finish.
No, that can wait. What's important is...
Ain't you gonna get that?
Yeah. Yeah, baby. I'll be there in 1 minute.
Who's that, Biggie?
Oh, that's just Faye. She's always checking up on me. It was Buff's idea.
Oh, man.
I'm just a rapper, man. Please don't take me out the game.
I ain't gonna kill you.
Thank you, Pa.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man.
Don't thank me.
Ain't nothing but against the party.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the CFL podcast, where today we are going to be talking about Jackson State versus Alabama A&M. That's right. It's finally here, bro. It's finally here. We have been waiting for this game since the spring of last year, all right? And now it's finally here. So without further ado, man, let's get right into it. What I'm most excited about in this game, right, is the storylines. The storylines. This game has a lot of storylines in it, and it started from the last spring when these two teams met. The first storyline is Coach Maynor versus Coach Prime. That's obvious. We know what Coach Maynor has said as far as get more 5 stars. Like, y'all seen that.
He didn't call me, but you know, he's the enemy. He's the enemy. You know, I'm not gonna give him any advice.
You told him to practice at 6 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah, I told him recruit some more 5 stars. You talking about all the 4 or 5 stars you recruited? You're not the only one to recruit 5 stars and 4 stars. We do too. Let's go. We got guys coming back next year too. Yeah, everybody wait for next year. Well, we're playing right now. Okay, everybody like their team at the beginning of the year.
Right.
So, you know, it is what it is.
And then his most recent comments about the scooter, Coach Prime responds and he says, "Hey, I'm not gonna." He basically said, "I'm not gonna respond how y'all want me to. You know, it's just not gonna happen. So let's stop fishing for it." And even though I didn't think that was the worst shot, the scooter, like, I didn't think that was really a shot at all. I thought it was a joke. A lot of people did think so, and you know, they were making it a big deal. And Coach Maynor actually had to respond to that. And here's what he said
about the man. So. Say what you want, do what you want, take whatever road you want. You can take the high road, the low road, or the back road. I don't give a crap. I didn't talk about the man. I asked him one question. So reading is fundamental.
But then, in true Maynard fashion, right, he also said in that same interview, or I think it was a different one, I'm not going to confirm that, but he did say in an interview that this Jackson State offense is worse than the Springs offense, which is a lie, which is an absolute lie, for one reason only. Maybe I would give him that if Quincy Casey, if he was talking about the Quincy Casey game, but every other game that Jalen Jones has started, the passing game was abysmal. Abysmal. He missed so many wide open receivers that it was crazy. Okay, so I just don't agree with that. I thought that was a little bit of a hater reference, but you know, it is what it is with that. That's his opinion. He's entitled to it. Whatever. The next storyline, right? How is Akil Glass gonna respond after that poor showing that he had against Grambling State? Yes, he had 4 touchdowns. Yes, he had over 400 yards passing. That isn't new to him at all. But he had 4 picks. He had 4 picks. And by the way, we can sit and act like Akil doesn't really do this on the regular. But I mean, last spring he did throw 3 picks to Jacoby Durant. He has thrown multiple picks in a few games as well. So this is what comes with that type of quarterback. Okay, I think because he's so confident in his ability to move the ball and fit the ball in the tight windows, that he's gonna make a mistake. He's gonna trust himself too much, and he's gonna make a mistake. And the last storyline, man, is Jackson State offensive coordinator on thin ice? Is he on thin ice? Because they haven't had the best showing, right? As a matter of fact, I think their offense is currently ranked 9th in the SWAC, And, you know, a large part of that is because of the running game not getting going, that we know. But I think they would be a lot better. They would be ranked a lot higher if he would just take shots, right? And this will really be his best opportunity to do so this game versus this defense, because they're atrocious. So I feel like if he doesn't have success, right, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem, because now you have to look at him differently, because if you can't get things going versus Alabama 8, which is undoubtedly the worst defense you'll face all year, how can we be confident in you getting to going against Southern and Alcorn that you still have to face this season? So, you know, we'll see how that goes. I just wonder if he doesn't get it going, if that offense has a poor showing versus Alabama A&M, questions are gonna have to be raised about him and his ability to uplift that offense going forward. Let's talk about what's at stake this game, right? There's a lot on the line this game, a lot. We already know SWAC supremacy, right? I mean, whoever wins this game is gonna pretty much have to coast, right? They pretty much get to coast the rest of the year. Well, that's more true for Alabama A&M than it is Jackson State, because Jackson State does have Southern and they still have Alcorn, who aren't pushovers in any way, shape, or form. But Alabama A&M, if they win this game, they have a pretty cupcake schedule after this week. So if they win, they get to coast to the SWAC championship. But whoever loses, you are put in a position to where every game now matters, right? You cannot lose again. You're not going to be able to lose again. And that's a hard position to be in. That's a really hard position to be in. That's something that you don't want for your team. So that's that. Not only that, but the next thing that you have at stake is draft stock. There's not going to be any other HBCU game this season where the two teams have this much NFL talent. I'm saying that. This game has the most NFL talent between both teams. Okay, you got the receiving core for Alabama A&M, and you have the defense as well as guys on offense for JSU. So, I mean, my God, you know, you got Dijon, who is projected to be a 4th rounder as of right now, and his draft stock is still climbing. You know, you have Akil Glass, who's going to be playing on Sundays as well. Fatim Ibrahim. You have D. Anderson. Like, it's there. The NFL talent is there. And these are the 3 guys I just named are guys who we know for a fact will get a shot at the NFL. But there are a lot more. There are a lot more guys that's going to be playing in this game that are going to be looked at on Sundays. James Houston as well. I forget about James Houston. Bragging rights. Y'all, bragging rights. We know. First of all, let me say this. If you are a Jackson State fan, if you are a Jackson State player, you want this game badly, because the last three meetings between you and Alabama A&M have been very close games. Very close. Either 1 or 2 possession games. And, you know, I know it's kind of frustrating that you just can't seem to get over the hump with this school. But now that you have this talent, you're just chomping at the bit to beat this team finally, so you can have something to say over them. Because one thing about Alabama A&M, the coach, the players, and the fans, they love to talk. They love to talk. And, you know, I guess they do deserve it, being that they've had the success. But with that being said, I know y'all are ready. Y'all are ready for it to be y'all turn. I know y'all are. So you want this bad. You want the bragging rights. Who are players to watch in this game? A lot of them are obvious, okay? For Jackson State, Dijon Warren. You know, he's been disciplined a lot so far this season. And, you know, it's led to him, you know, not starting some games when, you know, we know he should be. And it's just a lot of back and forth between them. But he's going to be starting this game, right? And this is a big game for him with all that he has on the line. So, Dijon Warren. Plus, let me say this. He hasn't been tested all season. This will be his best chance. His best chance at a great performance. He is going to get so much action because Alabama A&M is going to air it out. And one thing we know about Alabama A&M, they don't care to pick on your top corner. They don't care. It's not gonna. It might not always work out, but we saw when they play South Carolina State, they don't care about picking on your top corner. They'll do it. They'll do it. So he's gonna get his opportunities, and I want to see how he does when the opportunity presents itself, because I know he's been bored these past few weeks not getting thrown to. I know he had. James Houston for Jackson State as well. We know what a magnificent job James Houston is doing for that defense. So, I mean, how could you not look forward to seeing him? And also Shador Sanders. I need to see what he does in a game of this magnitude. He's been playing really well for a freshman. Statistically, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the SWAC as a freshman. And he's up there with seniors like Jawan Pass and Akil Glass and Felix Harper. Now that you're in elite category as of now, I can't wait to see how you do when you have to lay it all on the line. This is your first big test, really, of your young career. So I can't wait to see how he performs in this game. And for Alabama A&M, of course, you got D. Anderson. Yo, what can't be said about D. Anderson? I mean, he's 6'5", probably 225, 230. Very long range. He comes from the LSU program, the same program that put out Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson in the first round, and both of them are balling. Okay, so you've been taught by the guy who put those two guys in the first round. You've caught passes from Joe Burrow. You've been battle tested. You've been battle tested. And then, of course, you got Abdul Fattah Ibrahim. Yo, Abdul is the most consistent player I've ever seen. When he catches the ball, he has enough Deebo Samuel in him to continue to churn the legs, to keep going and get that yak yardage. And that's going to be fun to watch. Last but not least, like, we know Akil Glass, so I'm not going to say Akil Glass, but Gary Quarles, right? We know what Gary Quarles does when he has the ball. If you don't tackle him, he's going to teleport. This is a guy who runs very hard. Even to be 5'6", he's deceivingly strong. So these 6 guys are players that you should look out for during the game, as if you didn't already know that, though. Now, I also want to talk about the X factors. Who could be the X factor for their respective schools? I got 2 guys. For Jackson State, Warren Newman. It's time we give Warren Newman his due, right? Because Warren Newman is a guy who silently racks up those catches and keeps the drive moving for Jackson State when they can't get it to Keith Corbin or Joshua or Shane Hooks. He's the guy. I think he even had 11 catches. If it wasn't last game, it was the game before last, and nobody talked about it. Nobody talked about it. So not only does he do that, does he move the chains, he also returned in the punt return game. He is exceptional. Like, he makes plays in the return game. And if he can provide that spark for JSU, not only moving the chains, but if he can provide that spark and give Jackson State momentum when they need it, it will be a long night for Alabama A&M. And for Alabama A&M, it is Brian Jenkins. Yo, Juice, we saw, it was evident during the Grambling State game that the offense runs through Juice. It does. It runs through him. If they don't get Juice going, it's gonna get that much harder to get the ball to D, to get it to Abdul, and to get it to Xavrion. You need Juice to get things going through in the seams. You need him to work those linebackers. You need to be able to, just to get it, make him a threat. So that way, you have to focus on him, and you can take less pressure away from the outside receivers. But it just didn't happen last game. Now, before I get to the keys of winning the game for Jackson State, I got one more that I want to talk about, right? The most exciting 1v1 of this game. Dejon Warren versus D. Anderson. I want to see it. Dejon Warren could have been at Georgia right now. And most likely, if he had been at Georgia, his draft stock probably would have been even higher than a projected 4th-round pick right now. You got D. Anderson, who came from LSU. These are 2 guys who have NFL talent. These are 2 guys who are going to be playing on Sundays. You have the #1 JUCO prospect in the country versus D. Anderson coming from powerhouse LSU. I cannot wait to see how these guys match up against each other. D does have a height advantage over Dejon. Dejon is 6'1", D is 6'4", 6'5", and he's very long and rangy. But the thing about Deshaun is locked down. Now, let's get to the keys of winning this game for Jackson State, right? Number one, you have to realize your defense is just as good as their offense. Your defense is just as good as Alabama A&M's offense. And here's what I mean by that, right? Other than Nugget in that secondary, Randall Haney has played 29 career games at Vanderbilt. He's more battle-tested than anybody. You played in the SEC, 29 career games in the SEC, which is more than D. Anderson and LSU. You're more battle-tested than anybody else on that field. Or maybe James Houston, but you're more battle-tested than anyone else. So I have confidence in you. I do. You faced SEC receivers on a weekly basis. I have confidence in Randall Haney. He's not inexperienced, right? You have Kerrick Wiggins. When he gets in, a true man-to-man corner, a guy who started as a freshman for ULM last year before transferring because of mental health reasons. If you were good enough to start as a freshman, I have confidence in you as well. Al Young, we know what he did at Southeastern Missouri. When he played FBS schools, he showed out in his career at Southeastern Missouri because he did have injuries. But when he was healthy, he totaled 60 career tackles and 5 interceptions. I don't lack confidence for Al Young or any of these DBs not named Deshaun Warren. I don't. Even CJ Holmes. I even think CJ Holmes is going to get it together. So I'm just as confident in my secondary as they are in their receiving corps. Not only that, right? James Houston and Shiloh Sanders are top 3 in forced fumbles in the SWAC. Devontae Davis, James Houston, and Aubrey Miller lead the SWAC. They're top 5. They're top 5 in tackles for loss. James Houston leads the entire FCS in sacks with 6.5. And Aubrey Miller leads the SWAC in tackles. I think 56 tackles so far, 22 of them are for loss. Your defense as a whole has only allowed 4 touchdowns up until this point. And you have an efficiency rating of 89.3. Your defense is just as good as that offense. Next up, stop Gary Quarles. Gary Quarles is probably my favorite player on Alabama A&M for this reason. He leads the SWAC in yards, attempts, touchdowns, and average yards per game. Okay, like I don't know what else. I think he's averaging 131 yards per game. I think he has 394 yards rushing in the season. Honestly, Gary Quarles is somebody who, if you do not tackle, because we've seen it happen, especially versus Tuskegee, if you don't tackle him, he's gonna teleport, and he's gonna be gone. He can make plays. He's very elusive. He's only 5'6". So if you don't tackle him, it's hard to get to his pad level already. If you don't get down to tackle him, it's going to be a long night for you. So you have to stop Gary Quarles, because a team that throws as much as Alabama A&M does, the fact that he can still lead the SWAC in yardage is a problem. It's a problem. And for the DBs of Jackson State, you have to have short-term memory. You do play defensive back, no matter how good you guys are, and you're very good. Okay, eventually a man-to-man corner, you will get beat at some point. Somebody's going to make a terrific catch at some point. When that happens, you need to let it go, right? Because you play the hardest position in football. Physically, you need to be able to let that go, bounce back, and make the play again. Don't hang your head. Don't get down on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. Just get up and remember there's always the next play. And last but not least, for the defense, I need a big day from the pass rushers outside of James Houston. I need it. Niles Gaddy, I need it. I need you like I've never needed you before. I need you to be consistent and get pressure on him. You don't have to even get the sack, but get consistent pressure on him. Get some hits on him, legally, of course. Same thing with Abdul McClain. You do that, and James Houston, all 3 of y'all together would just be too much to stop. Now for the offense, there's only a couple things. Communication is key. Communication is key. And what I mean by that is y'all have had a hard time picking up blitzes. And some of those blitzes were very obvious. And y'all just have a hard time picking it up. And it led to so many wasted plays that should have not been wasted. So do a better job of picking up the blitz, and I think y'all would be a lot better statistically as an offense, as a unit. Also, the offense is going to get no excuses this week. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Tuskegee put up 35 points on them. Tuskegee is a Division II school who, other than outside of this game, that game they had versus A&M, they've only scored 23 points. That is their season high versus Division II opponents. And that came against Edward Waters. That is their season high. Their offense at the SEAC level is ranked number 9. And they were able to put up 35 points on Alabama A&M's defense. A defense who has given up 18 touchdowns this season so far in 4 games. A defense who gives up 35 points per game. There is no excuse for y'all to not get it going versus them. It's none. I cannot give it to you in good faith. Like, Alabama A&M's defense is ranked 9th, only in front of Mississippi Valley State, Bethune-Cookman, and Texas Southern. So that's not saying much. And finally, I'm gonna make a real bold statement, right? For my score prediction, Alabama A&M isn't touching 40 because I really believe in this defense that much. They're not touching 40. Y'all can call me crazy for this. Y'all gonna call me crazy for this, but I don't care. This is my bold prediction. Not a regular prediction, not a sensible prediction. This is a bold prediction. I'm making a bold prediction. Look that up before y'all come for me in the comments. Of course, I got Jackson State winning, but I think the score is going to be 35-25 Jackson State. I said it. 35-25 Jackson State. Maybe 28. Maybe I give them that much. Maybe 28. But 35-25 or 35-28 Jackson State. That's what I'm going with. So y'all, thank y'all for watching. If y'all made it to the end of this video, I really appreciate you. Let me know what you think down in the comments below about this video. Not really much I got to say. Y'all are watching the CFL podcast. I go by the name of Kobe, and I'm out. Peace.